Why, hello there. What's up, everyone? It's Robbie here with Star Wars HQ, and welcome back. We're talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi today because of an interview with Guillaume, the hero designer on Battlefront 2. He spills the beans about Obi-Wan Kenobi's expected playstyle. Some really cool stuff we're going to be diving into today. And then also some new General Grievous teases, I guess you would call it that. Some hints about General Grievous. And then we're going to be talking about why the stamina changes to the heroes in the first place and what's coming up for heroes. And of course, yes, there is Kylo Ren, the famous Saturday Night Live skit. You're seeing gameplay from this, and Matt, the radar technician. So you're seeing some, mod gameplay of this in action. Freaking hilarious. Okay, so let's do this, shall we? Then we're going to start off with, of course, the interview with Guillaume, the hero designer. I'm going to throw that in the description below. Check that out. But Guillaume goes on to say this about Obi-Wan Kenobi and his expected playstyle. He says, and then we have an upcoming hero like Obi-Wan Kenobi who is calm and has really good defensive lightsaber mastery. So we'll do our best to make him feel that way. Bottom line is that we now have a lot more cranks to pull to make the characters feel like themselves. End quote. I'm going to expand a little bit more on about what he means by a lot more cranks to make the characters feel like themselves. It's pretty interesting to see their perspective on this. But yeah, expect Obi-Wan Kenobi to be more of a defensive lightsaber wielder here. That's going to be his type of combat style. And Wikipedia had some interesting things to expand upon with this as well. So we're going to head over there and take a look as to what that says. It says, Obi-Wan Kenobi originally specialized in Form 4, trained in the form by Qui-Gon Jinn. However, upon witnessing his master's death due to Tara's lack of defensive capabilities, Kenobi decided to switch his focus to Sasori in order to eliminate this weakness in his own technique. Kenobi's resulting skill in Form 3 stood him in good stead against masterful gunslingers, such as Jango Fett, or during the chaotic firefight on Geonosis. Now, just to emphasize, remember, we're going to be heading to Geonosis this fall. Now, it goes on to say his tight defense and energy-efficient moves enabled him to pull through and survive where most of the Jedi strike team could not. However, when confronting Dooku, Kenobi's skill in Sorsu was insufficient to effectively counter Dooku's mastery of Form 2 lightsaber combat. Though Kenobi was a skilled Sorsu practitioner, he was unable to match Dooku's precision and economy of motion. During their duel, many of Kenobi's cutting parries outright missed Dooku's blade, forcing Kenobi into numerous scramble situations and rapidly fatiguing him. Kenobi was ultimately brought down by light, incapacitating cuts across his left arm and leg. End quote. So, this is really cool because it also tells us that Kenobi has a strength against some of these jetpack users like Jango Fett, and I think he would be a really cool counter to Boba Fett as well. But on the flip side, it sounds like Obi-Wan may have a lot of work against Dooku. So Dooku could act perhaps as a sort of counter to Obi-Wan Kenobi maybe in Star Wars Battlefront 2 if Guillaume and the hero designers, the other designers of the game, are really going after what this, the history says about Obi-Wan Kenobi's fighting style. So it's going to be interesting to see, for sure, what they do with this. I'm quite curious to see how defensive Obi-Wan actually is. And I feel like we do need something with lightsaber wielders to counter jetpack users like Boba Fett and Jango Fett. There has to be someone out there that can pull them from the sky and bring them down. So that would be really nice to see in the game for sure. Of course, you got to remember you have Finn. He's the best. Remember, he's absolutely the best at countering Boba Fett, in my opinion. I think personally, this is my personal opinion, that Finn is one of the best heroes in the game. I've had so much good luck playing with him and had a blast in, of course, Hero Showdown with him too. Okay, now, what about Ahsoka? You know what? The article said something really cool from Guillaume. He goes on to say this: my favorite Star Wars character is actually Ahsoka Tano from Clone Wars, so I'd love to get her into the game someday, end quote. So I honestly expect this to be happening with a revival of the Clone Wars TV series. Just saying that puts a smile on my face. Cannot believe that's happening. So yeah, I would personally you know, expect Ahsoka to make her way into Battlefront 2 eventually, and crossing my fingers that they continue supporting this game big time in 2019. There's been some indication and hints that that could be the case. Of course, we've got to get through 2018 with the new heroes, and of course Geonosis and that big game mode that's coming, but I really hope that brings back a lot of players. And of course, you got to remember Grievous, and mentioning Grievous, yes, we have some really cool stuff from him as well. Gaza3478 posted this: I met Matthew Wood today in London. When talking to him, he mentioned that he is going into the studio this week to record some new lines of dialogue for the droids and Grievous. I also mentioned how people online were wondering who was voicing Obi-Wan, and he said that he knows who, but he's not able to tell us. Dang it! I wish I could have got that information. Man, that makes me extremely curious. Okay. Next up, he did post this photo to really confirm that he was where he said he was, and that he did speak to Matthew Woods. So that's some really good evidence there. So that makes me pretty hopeful for sure to see that he posted this type of evidence for us. So it looks like General Grievous is being worked on right now. So yeah, I cannot wait to see like the first gameplay of his 4 lightsabers twirling around. You know it's going to be something in Battlefront 2. You know it is going to be happening. Alright, so let's talk a little bit more about the heroes and why they changed them and what's coming up with the heroes and villains in Battlefront 2. So Guillaume also did clarify things about that as well in the article. You can find that again in the description below. He goes on to say, one of the main purposes in this update is to improve lightsaber combat. The first step, and this is something the community has been asking for, is about changing the hero's stamina. The way it has been working up until now resulted in these block-off duels where lightsaber users are blocking each other forever, end quote. You know what? That's really a good point. I really get where he's coming from with the stamina changes. And you know, it seems like the reaction from the community is they've been able to handle the lightsaber wielders really well in heroes versus villains. But the trouble comes when you go into Galactic Assault mode. I think some tweaks need to be done, but I don't consider the lightsaber combat right now completely ruined, completely destroyed, you know. I think that they will adjust this in the August update, which, by the way, where in the world is that hotfix? We're going to have to talk about that in another video. Yeah, in August we should be getting Roadmap version 2 and then a new patch. Okay, now Guillaume goes on to say this: it felt necessary to add a stamina cost to blocking, so players will have to manage that resource moving forward. With the update, we're introducing 8 perimeters impacting stamina as a lightsaber user. We're tweaking every aspect of that mix for each individual wielder. As a result, they'll be more unique in how they'll play. End quote. Interesting stuff here for sure. And then he says this: Darth Vader might be excellent at blocking, but then attacking could drain his stamina much faster. And if Kylo Ren is a striking machine, blocking could be costlier for him. Kylo Ren may also need to catch his breath for a moment before his regeneration of stamina begins, while Luke Skywalker will start to regenerate stamina more quickly. End quote. It's definitely an interesting dynamic. Let me know what you guys make of these different play styles for each character. It seems like they're going after personalities for these play styles, and it also makes you as a player really get in depth with the heroes and villains that you are playing and to really understand them. Now, he did wrap up his comments about the hero changes in the stamina by, I think this is the tease about Obi-Wan. Yes, so it says this: Guillaume emphasizes that the implementation of the new stamina levers is subject to change as community feedback is gathered continuously. So remember that, guys. Based on your feedback, they're always willing to adjust this. It's just these adjustments take forever. Of course, DICE and EA, they have been on vacation, and actually we're headed into August. We are in August as of this video being posted, so that's good news. So that means that a lot of the, you know, DICE employees that work on Battlefront 2 should be back in office, ready to go, and we should be getting our update soon. And now, hopefully, the updates come more fast and furious than what they were, because we need hot fixes to actually be hot fixes. Now, again, he did clarify about Obi-Wan Kenobi, who is calm and has really good defensive lightsaber mastery abilities. Again, I can't wait to actually go hands-on with Obi-Wan, and now more than ever before, I'm curious to see how he matches up against the likes of Dooku. It sounds like Dooku is going to be possibly his counter here in Battlefront 2, and I'm curious to see how they match up. Now we need more teases about Dooku himself as well, so hopefully we get that too. But yeah, guys, stay tuned here to Star Wars HQ, because we're going to be covering, of course, the Clone Wars TV series as we get more news about that. Totally hyped about that one. And then as we get into August, I'm hoping we get more information about what's coming up here for Battlefront 2 with the Clone Wars content, Geonosis, and of course our heroes and villains. And we get a more solid release date for all these heroes and all these villains. And, you know, remember, we will be getting that big game mode, which hopefully mirrors Conquest in some way. So I'm totally hyped for that. It's taken forever to get to this point. I'm really wanting to see, you know, the community grow. Right now, you know, it's pretty inactive on both sides. You have DICE, and I think that's because DICE has been gone missing, basically, which is a real shame. Of course, if the game had done better at launch, I think they would have more people working on it even now, even during the vacation times. But whatever. It happened. The launch happened. Still can't get over how that launch went. But yeah, hopefully they get this turned around somewhat here in fall. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep you guys updated. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned here to Star Wars HQ for more. And I will see you guys next time. And may the Force be with you always.